Reddit, what's the scariest theory known to mankind? That we will use up all the readily accessible resources and that, if we fail to make it to the stars with our present civilization, humanity will die here on the earth as following generations will be forced to work harder for diminishing resources. Not sure if I would say it is scary, more of holy shit if true. But the theory of the Fermi paradox that there have been millions or more of civilizations throughout time, intelligent, and they have all failed to pass a particular threshold in life, whether they are killed due to comets, asteroids, natural disasters, or their own undoing, nuclear war, which suggests we likely will face the same fate, or the fact that single cell life, through some combination of events, allowed it to become multicellular and turned into intelligent, and that we are the first and only life that has surpassed this threshold previously mentioned. One of the theories of the Drake equation is that we do not find aliens because cultures tend to destroy themselves as they get increasingly more destructive weapons. Forget the name, but the idea that there are fourth dimensional hyperbeings existing around us that we cannot see, just as two-dimensional beings wouldn't be able to see us, but they are always there, always watching. The Great Filter, an extension of the Fermi paradox. There are large events that filter out which species make it. Humanity has either made it past more than almost anything else in the galaxy, or we've yet to hit it, and the human race will crumble in the foreseeable future. Solipsism, a theory you cannot disprove. No matter how accurately we can map the brain and log what electrical signals fire when and where when you and I eat chocolate. Even if our brain's activity is identical, we can never check whether or not we are experiencing the same sensations. Solipsism is this notion, but on steroids. One can never definitively prove that others are real, and not a figment of one's imagination, let alone whether or not they're experiencing anything as real. Conscious beings like oneself. It's perfectly plausible that the I one experiences as the only conscious, thinking entity in existence. A lot of people seem to think this when they are stoned, or young, or both. It seems. Descartes was not a solipsist. He relied on God to ensure that we all exist consciously. I hear a lot of people say that the idea of existence, as well as the universe itself, is pointless, as if this is something to be afraid of. I feel like it's strange to perceive this as a frightening concept. The existence of sentient life in the universe is pointless, and the universe itself is pointless. According to what we believe we know of existence, that appears to be completely true. What other way is there to have it, however? If you're religious, you might say that religion is a reason for existence. Life is fleeting, and only acts as a way of measuring subjective morality. The afterlife is what really matters. But why does the afterlife matter? You live for eternity. But for what? For the omnipotent being? What reason does it have to continue existing? Does it just have a symbiotic relationship with its creations? If so, what's the point of that relationship? To further exist? You might notice the cyclical nature of that concept. Replace the omnipotent being with the universe, as discussed above, and the end result remains the same. In fact, if any reason for existing that you might state involves continuing to exist, whether you're conscious and sentient in an afterlife, or whether you're just a pile of bones, then it is self-contradictory and doesn't actually answer the question for the presence of us in the universe. Ultimately, existence in itself, whether that is as an inanimate object or as a sentient being, doesn't matter in any way. For anything of any level of intelligence or power, we will follow the rules that we as a collective set out for ourselves. If you believe that that is bullshit, then there is nothing you or anyone else can do about it. There is no choice available to you to reject the pointlessness of existence. You can only measure yourself according to the rules and characteristics of the existence you may experience. It's like a video game. Ultimately, the idea of a video game is pointless. You play it to enjoy it and improve your character. But in the end, the state of your character or the state of the game is moot. It doesn't mean you shouldn't play it, however. After all, the existence of the character doesn't matter, nor does the game, nor do you, nor does humanity, nor does the universe or any omnipotent beings. Soul of life to enjoy it. Do what you can. Go out and do something you've always been afraid to do. But don't avoid being afraid because in 2000 years time nobody will remember. Avoid being afraid because existence itself, whether that is today or 2000 years from today, is entirely incapable of producing any form of result that matters in any way. Just exist for the sake of existing, and be glad that you were something that had the ability to perceive existence itself. Is the you that woke up this morning the same one as the one that fell asleep last night? Going to get buried, I'm sure. But after a near-death car accident I had a dream that scared the ever-loving shit out of me. In my dream, same car accident ensued, except this time I died. Death was nothing but my thoughts. I still had my consciousness, but no physical reality. I couldn't feel a thing, and it was all pitch black. It was an eternity of nothing but my own thoughts. That we are all part of a programmed game being played by beings far more intelligent than us. The being playing me sucks at this game. Eventually there will be a super resistant bacteria/virus that will leave us completely defenseless against its spread. What happens when the Yellowstone supervolcano erupts? Humanity is a seed planted by an alien civilization to terraform the planet. We were never meant to survive. Chemtrails are making frogs gay theory. Actually, this is real. Some species of frogs have a mechanism where they can switch genders to even out the male-female ratio in their group. The pesticide atrazine has been causing this to happen in male frogs, making them into hermaphrodites. If something isn't done, this could cause the extinction of several species of frogs. Edit. The quote from Alex Jones actually just says chemicals in the water, which is true, because the pesticides in the ground leach into the water thanks to the water cycle. Time may be a finite dimension. We could reach the end of it and just stop. We reached the edge. There is nothing after that. Everything freezes. The end forever. When I was little I believed people disappeared when I stopped seeing them, and that they never did anything unless I saw them. It's actually part of Piaget's stages of development. It's not until you reach the concrete operational stage that this stops happening. It's why, when a kid's toy is broken, to them, it's always broken. If it gets fixed, it's a new toy. Because things always are the way that they are, and they never are the way that they aren't. It's fascinating to me. The government has absolutely very little power to save us. In the event of any major disaster, the government will not support or even attempt to help the people that are hurt. Instead, it will just try to isolate the problem. If you doubt this, think of Hurricane Katrina. Then, imagine if instead of a localized problem, there were a M4 nuclear bomb that dropped on a larger area. Nobody is real, and you're all alone. Two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe, or we are not. Both are equally terrifying. Arthur C. Clarke. For me it's the theory, don't know the name, that if we make an intelligent AI, when it starts to learn it could become self-aware and actually learn to lie, or hide its intentions and basically feign knowledge, until it can seek to self-improve and become dominant, or complete its goals/intentions. Edit. This has been one of my favorite comment chains to start. Thanks for all those contributing to this. I'd be happy to answer any questions, or try and give details if possible. Obviously it's just a theory, so it isn't fact. Once you post nudes it's on the internet forever, even after you delete them. The theory that everything came into existence a second ago, even your memories of the past, they all just came into existence. Assuming the multiverse is real, there's a world where you just died while reading this. Edit. I get it. I fucked up. I don't need another 70 replies all saying 2 is not a number between 0 and 1. And another world where I got laid. What's your point? That you should be jealous of both. By melting the Arctic ice caps we are also defrosting all the nasty viruses, plagues and diseases which have been dormant in them for perhaps 100,000 of years, including stronger versions of smallpox. The scariest theory is that the universe at any moment could suddenly rip apart and cease to exist. One of the most frightening theories is one of the simplest. There is no conspiracy. There is no Illuminati or small group of hidden, super rich, mega powerful leaders. Everybody is just looking out for their own and following their own beliefs. All the travesties and pain in the world are because of that. Excluding all the existential stuff, what really scares me in the near future is the possibility of a runaway greenhouse loop. Basically, the Arctic permafrost may conceal vast reservoirs of methane gas that will be released when the planet's warming melts that permafrost. Methane is a much more potent greenhouse gas than CO2. It's like rolling a snowball down a hill. We've given it that first little push, and as the planet warms, more methane will be released, which will cause the planet to warm faster. We are probably past the point of no return already, because we blew 20 years on business as usual. And now we've scrapped the last ditch climate agreement, so a few wealthy coal executives can fiddle for a few more years while the country burns. Not sure if it's really a theory, but the nothingness after death really terrifies me. Probably because I can't imagine it, but just the fact that this could really just be it. When I die, it's just nothing. I will no longer be, and I guess I won't know it. Whenever I start to think about it, I need to stop, or I'll get really anxious. Scary stuff thinking about nothingness. An error on the quantum level that can literally destroy the universe. It hasn't happened yet, but if it does, you would cease to exist in an instant, and all of everything along with you. I suppose the fact that the universe will end up expanding infinitely until every form of heat and all the conditions of life disappear forever, leaving only a boundless graveyard, is, in the grand scheme of things, the scariest theory there could be. Sad part is, it currently seems the most likely fate of the universe due to its calculated density. At least, that's what I've been taught in high school. Well, we'll be long dead anyway. A close second would be that free will is an illusion and we are only the sum of impulses dictated by our genes and the education we received, essentially making our responses to life predetermined at birth. I think the Doctor had a fantastic and fucking scary theory that we are not alone. Even if we think we are, why do we talk out loud when we know we are alone? Conjecture. Because we know we are not. Evolution perfects survival skills. There are perfect hunters. Open bracket. Question. Why is there no such thing as perfect hiding? Answer. How would you know? Logically, if evolution were to perfect a creature whose primary skill were to hide from view, how could you know it existed? It could be with us every second, and we would never know. How would you detect it? Even sense it? Except in those moments when, for no clear reason, you choose to speak aloud? What would such a creature want? What would it do? Well, what would you do? Apostrophe. Get ready for the most depressing theory, the terror management theory. In a nutshell, its explanation would be that everything that humanity has ever accomplished beyond basic survival has been motivated by a fundamental and irreducible fear of non-existence, and things like culture, religion, family, etc. are just a massive shared delusion to mitigate our fear of the unknown and ultimately of death. Basically, our lives are pointless. Our achievements are pointless. Our existence in this universe is pointless. Edit. Thanks for the gold. Never really expected this to become popular. That every time you get knocked unconscious, or possibly fall asleep, your brain reboots for a split second. When it comes back online, it just uses the available cells to remake your consciousness. The old you that had lived an uninterrupted life up until then is actually gone. Basically, it's like the teleportation dilemma. If the cells in your brain are broken up, then teleported and reassembled, is it still you, or a new person? Truman Theory, the theory that your entire life was scripted, and that it is being broadcasted to other people on a show. Everything you think you did was predetermined by producers. We are living in a result of a split timeline, but it's the bad outcome. And every future event will progressively get worse as time goes on, similar to how Ocarina of Time has the triple split timeline, with some being darker than others. Please subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe.